Welcome back to some new malicious compliance stories, where people complied to the letter, but not the spirit of our request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Just Turn Up. I have worked at a production company for about 5 years. I worked up from the most boring jobs no one wants to do training new people on every job possible in there. The people were great, but the work and pay weren't the best. So I didn't mind staying there as it was a pretty relaxed place. My production manager has always had a problem with me. I'm not entirely sure why, but most people believe it's because I was good friends with my first supervisor, and they had a bit of history. I always just brushed it off because I was still doing good work, doing lots of overtime and generally helping out where I can. After a while, I realized I needed to get out of this job as the stress was getting too much and my mental health was at an all-time low. I got offered a new job and accepted and handed in my notice. I didn't have to work a notice period, but did it just to help them out and finish any work I had going on. Roll on the next day, my new work rang me, saying they were snowed under with work. And if at all possible, would I be able to adjust my notice so it wasn't a full week? I said I'd ask. Going in, if my manager said no, I'd have just said okay, fine, no worries. However, he went one step further. He threatened legal action if I didn't turn up for my notice period, which was just not needed. I informed my new workplace and they understood. I was upset at how he'd acted, and all the years of him acting a douche had finally made me start losing it. Then I sat down for a bit, gathered my thoughts and said okay, I will turn up. I came in the next day and just sat in the chair near my workstation. My supervisor, who I was good friends with, asked if I could do some work. And I just simply said I was told I needed to turn up. He can't physically force me to do work. Supervisor, seeing the years of me being mistreated, didn't even bat an eye and was like, no worries. About half an hour later, I was called into the office and was told to just write a new notice, informing them of my immediate departure for my new job. This could have all been avoided if he'd just politely declined instead of having to swing it around the office one last time. The next story is called Money for No Reason. My dad built his house back in 1983. It was the biggest and most extravagant house he ever built. The driveway had a carport with a beautiful archway to drive into, about 10 feet, that led to the garage. He got a call from the customer. I just bought an RV. I need the carport entrance raised another 16 inches to make room to park the RV in the garage. Sure, bring the RV by and we can measure it. I measured it already. I need the archway raised another 16 inches. Are you sure? Let's double check. I checked 3 times already. Trust me, just do it. Eventually, my dad just said sure, charged him $4,000 for it and made the change. But the roofline was too low to go another 16 inches, so he just converted it to a rectangle shape with rounded corners. 3 weeks later, he got a call again. Hey, there's a problem with the arch. What's up? It's tall enough, but I didn't measure the width. The RV is too big, and my wife won't shut up about how she preferred the arch. I need the arch back. No problem. It will be $8,000. $8,000? But last month it was only $4,000. Yes, but I wasted all that material tearing the arch out, and I have to pay for the materials and my guys to go in and reinstall it. Fine. Let's get it done before the weekend, or I won't hear the end of it. My dad deliberately spent 2 weeks on it. Added $12,000 extra on a house for no reason. The third story is called Measured It. When I was a teenager, I worked at a popular department store. This was in the late 1980s, so no internet, electronic catalogs, etc. to look up product specs. A customer came in and bought an entertainment center. At the time, these were quite large, because the only TVs available were the tube type. The measurements on the finished entertainment center are printed on the box. This customer's son wrote down the measurements and then measured the inside of the back seat and determined it would fit. He did not measure the box, which has styrofoam on the ends to protect the ends of the pieces, making the box longer than the maximum finished dimensions. One of my jobs was assisting customers load heavy items into their car. Well, the box didn't fit. It was very clear the box would not fit as the car door would not close. All this time the customer kept saying that it had to fit because her son measured it. She would not let it go. I offered to take it out of the box, but that was a no. I offered to hold it until she could bring a different vehicle. Still no. It had to fit, because her son measured it. So I had one end of the box on the ledge by the window, and then forced the door on my side closed. The other window shattered. She looked super mad, but before she could say anything, I just said I'll get a manager, and made my escape. The only thing that happened to me was that I got a verbal warning. The next story is called Large Cups. I work at a fast food chain, and for the last 2 weeks we've been out of large glasses for the drinks. I usually inform our clients about it and give them a medium cup. If the client eats in the restaurant, they don't usually have any complaints, as they can refill it free of charge. But in the drive-thru, I give them the option of having a medium glass and a small one. That should be more or less the same volume as a large one. Enter this woman. She refused that option and insisted on the fact that as she was paying for a large meal with a large cup, she wanted a large cup. Absolutely fair. I told her again that we are out of large cups, and she responded by saying that's not her problem. At that moment, my manager tells me to just give her the drink in extra large cups. We don't usually give them as an option, because we don't have as many of those as medium or small ones. And I tell her. She then has no problem getting more than she paid for, and is happy with the result. Cut to the moment where I'm serving her order. My coworker tells me that the extra large cups don't fit in the cup holders we give when there's more than one drink, and she had 4 extra large drinks. I simply answer with her, that's not my problem, and begin giving the woman the drinks, and I see her struggling with how to manage the drinks and ask for a cup holder. I respond by saying that the extra large cups don't fit in one, but the medium and small ones do. The next story is called You Are the Manager. I used to work at a party store where we would get tons of people in for balloons for different occasions. During my first interview, one of the managers would glare at me every time she was in the back room. She was extremely rude to me throughout the entirety of my employment there. To preface this, one of the times she was a jerk, it was my first week there, and I couldn't figure out how to enter in a coupon that the customer had. I called up my manager, and she was mad. She looked at the customer and said, "I'm sorry about this. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's new." As if I was supposed to know how to use a register in my first retail job. I was the only one working on this day, and it was extremely busy. People needed balloons, some needed merchandise, and a majority needed both. I called up my manager so she could help me, and surprise, she was upset. She was blowing up the balloons while I was at the register. I would tell the customers that there would be about a 10-minute wait, since there was only one person doing them. My manager ran over, yelling, "No, don't tell them there's a wait. I'm doing the balloons. You are doing the register. There is no wait." About 20 minutes later, I got through all the customers, and she was still at the balloon counter. There was an extremely long line of angry people waiting for their balloons. Some even asking her what the holdup was, and if there was anybody in the back to help. She, the manager, looked at me and asked if I could help her, since she had too many balloons to do it by herself. I responded with, "I'm manning the register. You told me there was no wait, so I couldn't let them know how long. Apologies," and turned back to my register. The next story is called No Telework. The place where I worked recently said our department isn't getting enough done when people are in the office. Their solution to this was to pull our telework we are allowed 2 days a week, since that would increase productivity. The thing is that our department travels a lot. We get compensation time for all of this travel, so people have over 100 hours of time, not including PTO. Since telework is not allowed, people are taking off 2 days a week for mental health days. On a normal day in the office, our department of 20 will have about 2 to 3 people in the office, and the higher-ups are complaining that they can't do anything about it. I wonder how long until telework is given back at this point. The last story is called Test Them Correctly. I'm in the transportation industry, formerly a mechanic on tractor trailers. Every year leading up to winter, we do a battery test to make sure the batteries aren't getting weak and will leave the driver stranded. It's not terribly in depth. Just pull the battery cables off, wipe the dirt and road grime off, hook up the tester and test. Then hook up the batteries again after the test. On this particular night, I had 2 new guys shadowing me. I taught them how to properly do this test. I didn't take the cables 100% apart, because doing so would have broken them. I cleaned the batteries and test them successfully and put the truck back together. The manager comes over like 30 minutes later, saying I didn't do the test at all. He says the batteries are dirty and I lied and faked the results, even though I had the 2 new guys say otherwise. He had me come into the office to get written up. I was told to do it again, since the truck had to go back at the close of business. So I took everything apart, 110% by the book. I broke a few battery cables, and surprise surprise, we don't have the parts to replace them. Now the truck is stuck at the shop when it should go back, and he gets shooed out and made to do more work to find a replacement. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.